Welcome back to Investing and Trading Live, sponsored by Online Trading Academy. We're having a good time in studio here. Beautiful week on the stock market. Beautiful week here in Minneapolis. Sun is shining, wind is blowing. What more can you ask for? A little bit of snow here. We're seeing a little more volatility with this weather pattern that we've been seeing the last few weeks here. But I like it, Al. How do you like the snow?
Well,
Are you ready for it to go?
no, I am ready for it to go. Typically, I don't mind winter, but for some reason, this one seems longer than most of them.
I keep saying I need to move down south for health reasons, and I keep being told a hangnail is not a health reason to move down south.
You
But I,
already live south of the cities, anyways.
there you
Right?
go,
Yeah,
south of
right.
the city. You're right, but we could talk about living south all year long. But beautiful Minnesota in the summertime, you just can't beat it.
You cannot beat it in the summer,
Yeah,
fall, summer, and spring.
yeah. Back to the stock market though. For those that did miss tickets for that free investing class that we do here locally. Just text the word investing to the number 210 for 2 seats for this class and a financial quick start kit, which will help you get started right away. So text the word investing to the number 210 for 2 seats in this class. Al teaches these, I teach these as well. And we had a couple classes this week, and a lot of people came in and great conversations. What's nice about these classes, we get really good people that come to these classes. People that are, you know, working class people and have 401ks, IRAs, and they're motivated. They want to do things differently.
Hmm.
They want to have a better financial situation, and the way to do that is to do different things. So if you're looking at a different strategy, and you want to be able to have a better financial future, or at least the opportunity, you might want to check out different things as far as the markets. I mean, there's a lot of different things you can do out there, but the stock market or futures, forex, or options. The great thing about that is you can do it from home as long as you have an internet connection. And I want to talk about that here coming up is how to have strategies no matter where you're at. But make sure to text the word investing to the number 210. If you missed part of the show, check out the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, Investing and Trading Live, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. So, Al, I was talking about in that last segment about strategies to use smaller amounts of capital.
Hmm.
And I was actually talking with a good friend. I think it was last week, and he was talking about he bought a vehicle. This is a while back when interest rates were lower, and he bought a vehicle, and he was talking about, yeah, it's so nice where you can purchase. I mean, it was a pretty expensive vehicle. He likes nice vehicles, and he's like, yeah, I was able to buy this vehicle, and I only had to put, I think he said maybe 10 or 15 thousand bucks. It was a down payment
Hmm.
on this vehicle, and he's like, man, wouldn't it be nice if we could do that for everything in life? I mean, yeah, you can do it with your homes, and you can also do that same type of concept with the markets as well. Because you think about it, if you trade stocks, that's like paying cash for a car or cash for a house. It ties up all of your capital, and then you have no efficiency with that capital. You can't do anything else with it. With the markets, futures, forex, and options, you can actually use a smaller portion of that, because even if you have the capital to purchase a home or a car with cash, most people don't do it, especially when interest rates are low, because you can get cheap money.
Hmm.
So then you can be more efficient, invest it in other places.
Right.
And that's what I want you to dissect here a little bit, Al, is how do you be efficient with your capital using a leveraged asset class like futures, forex, and options, and have more opportunities, especially if you're looking for an income strategy.
Yeah, well, if you are buying a stock, you want it to go up in value. So let's say you buy 100 shares of stock. You want that 100 shares of stock to go up in value, but you may have had to pay 15 or $20,000 for that position. If you're going to
Mhm.
invest in Apple, for example, you're looking at least $15,000 for that 100 share position.
And if it
That
goes up a dollar, what do you make?
well, you make $100.
Yeah, whoop-de-doo.
That's a very small percentage. But what if you could still, because your goal is to benefit from the movement of that 100 shares of stock, right? What
Hmm.
if you could still benefit from the movement of that 100 shares of stock, but instead of $15,000, maybe it cost you $500 or $600 to still control the movement of that 100 shares of stock?
Hmm.
That's beneficial. That's really using your capital wisely. And you can do that in the financial markets. You can do that with options, for example. Let's say that you are the stock market maybe is a little scary to you, or you just have had bad luck with the stock market. Uh, what about some of the other assets? In fact, you should learn what the other assets are that are available to you to have a properly diversified portfolio. But what about commodities?
Yeah.
But what about your favorite,
Lean hogs.
lean hogs?
Well, we talked about gold earlier, gold and
Gold-
silver.
gold and
Those
silver.
are futures contracts.
Yeah, in fact, you do not have to own physical gold and silver to benefit from it. There are futures contracts that trade in the gold and the silver market.
I want to stop you there for a second because that actually made me think about it. One of my family members like, I'm going to buy a whole bunch of gold. I said, great, yeah, you can do it right in the market. He's like, well, I had to go buy all this gold.
Right.
But the problem is now you have to find somebody to buy that from you. You got to find some sort of or a broker or however that works.
Sure.
But in the market, it's liquid. You can get rid of that
Immediately.
in a second.
Yeah, exactly. And so there are commodities that you can invest in: sugar, corn, soybeans, lean hogs, gold, silver. What about the energy market? What about oil and things like that? You can invest in that within the futures market. What about currencies? You know, we see the dollar and various currencies moving pretty significantly. You can invest in currencies in the futures market. If you're looking for short-term income, and any kind of income that you're looking for is not something that you can wait 10 or 20 or 30 years to achieve. It's something you probably want now to maybe pay for an emergency or pay for something fun, or maybe use it to boost the amount of assets you have in your retirement accounts.
I like how you brought that up if you need it now. Because you can't just wait forever. Remember those commercials? It's my money and I need it now.
I need it now. That's right.
That's what the market
should bring those back.
Yeah, that's
well.
what the market
Think
allows
about
you
it.
to do.
When you have emergencies, I mean, does your car ever break down? Do you ever need to put money in your car? In the wintertime, does your furnace ever go out, or the summertime, your air conditioning go out? Absolutely. And you can't wait 10 or 20 years to replace or to pay for those things. That's why additional income is so important. You have income from your job if you're still working, but for about 68% of the people in the country, that's not enough. People are living paycheck to paycheck, which means that emergencies go uncovered. So a lot of Wall Street advisors are out there telling you should put together an emergency fund. And that emergency fund should cover maybe 3 to 6 months worth of expenses, or maybe you got laid off, and then you're going to need closer to 6 months to a year's worth of funds.
And you see all these layoffs lately.
Well, yeah, but the problem is, where do you get the money for those emergency funds? If you're living paycheck to paycheck or barely getting by, where do you get the money to put that together?
When is the best time to prepare for that?
Yesterday.
Before it happens.
Before it happens.
You can't
exactly.
wait and say, oh, crap.
Yeah,
you know,
people that is a problem. I think an error that a lot of people make. Yeah, it just isn't the right time. I've got plenty of time. I'll work on it later. You know what? There's never going to be a perfect time, and at some point in time, you really won't have enough time to do anything. You need to act now. And just because the market is fluctuating in a way that maybe scares some of you, that doesn't mean that there aren't opportunities. That's what we do. We want to try to pull back the curtain, so to speak, on how the markets work, how you can benefit, and then just simplify this thing, simplify investing and trading. And here's a way of simplifying. Here's the rules for success. You want to be successful? Number one, learn how to manage risk. Every successful trader, investor out there will tell you that is the number one thing that they have learned. And the only thing that keeps them successful is managing risk. So that's number one. Number two, trade the appropriate style for you. We mentioned futures, for example, or options or stock. There's going to be a best strategy for each one of you. It's not going to be the same one for everybody, but that's the appropriate thing is to learn what is right for you. And then the third thing is trade like the institutions. Trade like the people that are moving price. Because the most important thing, again, keep it simple, isn't why price moved, it's when it's going to move and where it's going to go. That's what our core strategy is built around. It's designed to show you how to do that. You control the emotion part of it, manage risk and control emotions by following a set of rules. It's a step-by-step process, a set of rules you follow that take what out of it? The emotions, the fear and the greed that are part of all of us as human beings that will impact the ability for you to be successful as a trader or investor.
Yeah, and I'm glad we were talking a little bit about the best time to start anything. As you know, I've been playing the guitar for a while.
Yes.
And before I started, I was like, I'll think about it. And you know how much better I was getting before I bought my guitar? I wasn't
You weren't getting
better.
any better at all.
But what I did, you ever heard that term burning your boat? It's basically doing something so you have to do it. You have to get it done. And then it becomes something you're in your everyday life. So what did I go do? I bought a guitar. So now I had to practice because I invested some money in that guitar. And you know what? I've been playing ever since and I've been having a good time. It's just one of those things like you don't know what you don't know until you start. And that's the same thing about the markets. You have to get started. You have to take the advantage of these opportunities now. That way you're not playing catch up later on in life. And by later on in life, that's 80s and 90s or 70s, 80s, 90s, 90s. When you're 50, is it too late? No. When you're 60, is it too late? No. You have many more years to utilize the market because it's always going to be open. Just text in for free investing classes to get started today. Text the word investing to the number 210-210. That's investing to the number 210-210. Al, coming up next, I want to talk about how you build wealth. And I want to talk about that because the strategy may not be as complex as you think. This is Josh and Al, Investing and Trading Live.